Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here, and welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, April 24, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here where the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the days be like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at this post that was made here on our social media platform, highlighting the fact that we had a minor earthquake last night. It states here, seismographs detected a minor 3.7 magnitude earthquake approximately 40 kilometers southeast of Kingston at around 10:33 p.m. on Wednesday, April 23, 2025. The tremor was too small and offshore to be felt by most people. While it was minor, small quakes like this can sometimes be foreshocks to larger events. Remember to drop cover and hold on in case another one happens here. Did you happen to feel it? And I think I actually felt it, but I wasn't really sure if it was an earthquake, so I just brushed it off at the time, 10:33 p.m. I live right here in St. Thomas, so I'm sure that what I felt at that time was it. As you can see here, it's right here to the southeast of Kingston, 10:33 p.m. with a 16-kilometer depth, so it wasn't that deep at all. And boy, we just hope that that's basically it for that, because sometimes we can have small quakes like this that turn out to be major earthquakes later on. I remember in 2021, before they got that major earthquake in Haiti, they got a minor earthquake, or a few of them right here to the north of Jeremiah, and then they got a major one in Jeremiah. That was crazy, but you can definitely have foreshocks which could lead up to a major earthquake. We just hope that that's not the case for this one, especially considering how close it is to Port Royal. And remember that earthquake that Port Royal had, and remember the last earthquakes that we've been getting were basically near Buff Bay in Portland, so it's kind of weird, kind of shocking that we're getting an earthquake on this side of the island. Now let us hope that it is nothing. Either way, we definitely have a few persons who felt the quake. We have underscore XNES that's stating they called me crazy, so I'm guessing that person felt the earthquake. Another person right here, Emma on Twitter, stating I knew I wasn't crazy. Even on our Instagram page, we had Sean Simone stating I knew I felt a slight shake last night around this time, but I dismissed it. Same thing with me. And we even have another comment right here from sb.collection underscore n underscore boutique stating I felt it. I thought it was someone trying to wake me softly, but then it came to me after a few seconds that I was home alone. And finally, we have Meshi underscore Bay 45 stating, me know me never did I go mad. So I guess some persons felt that earthquake last night for sure. Either way, we have to remember that when it comes to earthquakes, anything from 3 to 3.9 is considered a minor earthquake. Anything from 4 to 4.9 is a light earthquake. Anything from 5 to 5.9 is a moderate earthquake. If you remember, the October 30, 2023 earthquake that we got was a 5.4, if not a 5.6, and that was moderate, and some persons thought it was a strong one. We haven't seen strong yet. The strongs are the 6 to 6.9 that can definitely cause damage. Not to mention the 7s or the 8s. We don't want to witness any of those in our lifetime at all. Either way, if we feel the shaking, we just always have to remember to drop, cover, and hold on. We just have to follow the protocol. We don't want to be, hurt or worse from any falling debris or whatever the case may be. Let's just hope that whatever we're covering ourselves under is sturdy enough to, keep us all alive. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused right here at the timestamp at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as you look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. As we head into Friday morning, 12Z is actually 7 a.m. What do we see? We see the abundance of moisture associated with that trough still affecting portion of the eastern Caribbean all the way down into the ABC Islands. We can also see some moisture to the west of Jamaica, across the northern areas and the waters to our south. And then by Friday afternoon, we see rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes on the Euro. What does the GFS show for the same time period? Friday morning, rain to our northwest, south, and northeast. Then on Friday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, just like what the Euro was showing. On Saturday morning, we see rainfall dancing around the island, across the sea. Then Saturday afternoon, more so across central and eastern parishes with that afternoon rainfall. What does Saturday morning on the GFS show? Rainfall to our south, to our north, to our west. Then on Saturday afternoon, it's more so across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does Sunday morning have in store for us? On Sunday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica. Then on Sunday afternoon, we see rainfall mainly across sections of some central and western parishes. We do see a speck of green across the east too. Let us see what the afternoon has in store for us. Okay, so I guess we just saw the afternoon. Let us see what the GFS has in store for us. On a Sunday morning, we see rainfall to our north, to our southwest. By the way, we need to highlight the abundance of moisture that's going to be plaguing the Caribbean in general. Look at the southern Caribbean, central Caribbean to the eastern Caribbean. Very interesting. So much green shading that represents rainfall. Then by Sunday afternoon across Jamaica, we see that rainfall across central and western parishes, just like what the Euro was showing. What do we have for Monday morning? Some rainfall across the east on the Euro. Monday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Monday morning on the GFS, northeasterly rainfall again. Monday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes once again. On Tuesday morning, what do we see? Still that rainfall across the northeast. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes on the Euro. On the GFS, Tuesday morning, northeastern parishes getting another rainfall once again. Section of eastern, central, and western parishes during the afternoon. Then on Wednesday morning, what do we see? Rainfall once again across the northeast. On Wednesday afternoon, we see that rainfall across mainly central eastern parishes. We're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Thursday, May 1, or right in the peak month of the secondary rain. Well, the secondary rainy season is arriving, is here, May. Finally at the 7-day forecast, or the end of the 7-day time period for that kind of forecasting in general. We know that we're going to be getting one of those forecasts at the end of April. That's going to be focusing on the entire month and what it's going to be like. But it's nice to know that we're only 7 days away from the start of May in general. Now it's time for us to look and see what the GFS is showing for Wednesday morning. Rainfall across northeastern parishes. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And then we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours as well. So this is valid for Thursday, May 1 as well. And we see that rainfall across northeastern parishes. Didn't see that much on the Euro for that time period. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what unfolds. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. If we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS right here, we can clearly see that it's going to be raining across the Caribbean. We see a lot of colors right here. All of this representing what we see here on the key on the right. So let's break it down. Clearly the most rainfall over the next 7 days, as represented by the dark reds, purples into the pinks, that we know means about 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, should be plaguing the areas of northern South America, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica right here, portions of Hispaniola, portions of eastern Cuba, sections of Puerto Rico, sections of the eastern Caribbean, anywhere from the Antigua and Barbuda area southward, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. And if we look closely, it's not only the GFS model that's showing this, but even the Euro model. So these areas could pick up some amount of isolated flash flooding given the amount of rainfall that's being forecasted here. So we just hope that the people who reside in those areas are on their P's and Q's so that they're not drastically affected by what's to come. While other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds that we know mean anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall up to an inch or more of rainfall. We're talking about areas such as maybe St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, the ABC Islands, section of Jamaica, section of Cuba and the Bahamas. We also see that rainfall across portions of the Cayman Islands, eastern portion of Yucatan, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS right here are showing the same thing. So we could be getting up to an inch of rainfall over the next 7 days across these spots for the most part. But we're going to be focusing our attention some more on Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation forecast over the next 7 days. You see Jamaica right here shaded in the blues, the greens, the yellows. That represents anywhere from a millimeter of rainfall all the way up to at least 40 millimeters or more of rainfall. And we can clearly see that the brunt of the rainfall over the next 7 days should be plaguing especially the northeastern parishes. We see especially Portland shaded in those yellows, representing from 30 to 40 millimeters of rainfall. I know that most of that rainfall in the northeast is going to be affecting those areas during the morning hours, while the central and western parishes are going to be getting their fair share of rainfall during the afternoon when we've had the daytime heating. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs on our other social media platforms. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see a ridge of high pressure right here across the US, another ridge of high pressure right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We see numerous troughs as represented by the broken orange lines across portions of the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into the eastern Caribbean. And if you take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost the sunlight, we can make out all of these trough systems right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic, extending all the way down to the eastern Caribbean. And we can also see the low level flow of the clouds being steered from east west, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, April 24, 2025. It was stated that rainfall would have been in the forecast of parts of northeastern Jamaica during Thursday morning, also affecting sections of some central and western parishes during Thursday afternoon, well, eastern, central, and western parishes that is. And we know northeastern parishes, we're talking about anywhere from St. Anne eastward, St. Mary, Portland, while eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 7:26 a.m., the visible satellite image was posted right here on our Twitter page, Weather Jamaica, and I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page, weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page, Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page, Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the post that was made at around 7:26 a.m. this morning highlighting some clouds, bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to sections of some northern parishes, and some of these clouds definitely spilled into sections of some southern parishes. Section of St. Andrew got into some of the morning rainfall, section of Westmoreland too. And we saw most of the rainfall across Portland, St. Mary, section of St. Anne got in on the action later on. Section of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover with the overcast skies, if not some isolated showers for sure this morning. And then at around 2:35 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted once again, highlighting the clouds, bringing overcast skies, if not some isolated thunder showers, across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. I know we're talking basically sections of western Portland, northwestern St. Thomas, sections of St. Andrew, Kingston, St. Mary, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, sections of Westmoreland, and sections of Hanover, as well as St. James got on some of the action for sure. And we even highlighted the live camera from Flatbridge in St. Catherine. We saw the moderate rainfall that was taking place, soaking the bridge at that time. There's some moderate to slightly heavy rainfall, nothing too significant to cause the rear cobra to go into spate at all. But I'm sure that the rainfall was well needed considering the dry period that we've been experiencing for the past week. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost the sunlight, we can make out the flow, more of an east-northeasterly kind of flow. Then we had the clouds building. We definitely got some convection today, and those cloud tops are being blown off towards the east-southeast for sure. And even while we're losing the sunlight, still had some convection across sections of southern St. Elizabeth, southern Manchester right there. So I'm pretty sure that it's definitely still raining over there. And the infrared close-up satellite imagery right here confirms the convection that we just saw as well. Look at the blues into the greens. That represents the cumulonimbus clouds, the high cloud tops being sheared off towards the east-southeast by the upper level wind shear for sure. And we even make out the sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. I'm sure if you reside in these areas, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, you definitely saw some lightning, if not heard some thunder today. Even across portion of Hanover got on some of the thunderstorm activity. And if we take a look right here, at around 2:48 p.m., the live camera here from Barbican in St. Andrew was showing that we were receiving some amount of moderate rainfall for sure. Areas definitely soaking wet. People in their vehicles driving about, going about their business. Windshield wipers are definitely on for sure. I'm pretty sure that the rainfall that they got over there today was very well needed, given how warm the temperatures have been and how dry the conditions have been recently. And if we take a look at the actual accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture of where we had that rainfall today. Definitely across sections of the northeast during the morning, then across sections of eastern, central, and western parishes during the afternoon for sure, mostly south central and western parishes for sure. Definitely almost 100% correct. And we have some comments right here from some of our followers confirming what the weather was like in their area today. Of Rich English stating, yup, we're getting it in Westmoreland side. This was 11 hours ago. This was around 8:24 a.m. Thanks for confirming the morning rainfall on our Facebook page. We also had Shawnee Reynolds confirming the rainfall in their area this morning as well as this afternoon, 3:15, having little rain in St. Andrew. On Instagram, we had one Ryan._ stating raining in Hanover. We also have Tanisha 3610 stating raining here in Linstead. And even on our threads page, we had Natural Mystic MK stating cooler overcast in Kingston. Lady Sunshine Robinson stating it's falling here in Portland, Jamaica. Thanks for confirming as well. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what's happening right now. Let us reload this and let us have a look at the very latest still image. The latest still image is showing 0025 UTC, which is actually 7:25 p.m. So this just came out 5, 10, 15, 16 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:41 p.m. right now. And we can still make out the milky white shades that represent cloud cover across mainly sections of some central and western parishes. But clearly we see the brunt of the rainfall somewhere here across sections of Manchester, St. Elizabeth, where we see the convection, and we still can make out some sparkling white dots that represent the lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. Let me know if you're experiencing some isolated thundershower activity right now in St. Elizabeth by the time this video is up. Unfortunately, the Cuban Doppler radar imagery cannot confirm for us if it's raining. It's showing April 24 at around 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was actually 11:30 a.m. Jamaica time, and at that time we're getting some rainfall passing the northern coast. It was still the morning time for that rainfall, so it glitched out. Wish it was showing what's happening right now. The Doppler radar from the naval radar station right here in Guantanamo showing some rainfall across southeastern Cuba, some rainfall right here between Haiti and Jamaica. And if we take a look at what's happening on the Cayman radar, let us reload this one so that we have the very latest to show. You can actually make out some rain bands right here across south central Cuba. The water is south of there too, and we can even make out some of the rain bands that are affecting portion of St. Elizabeth as we speak. We see the blues, see the greens right here across portion of St. Elizabeth. We're definitely getting rainfall to confirm what we're seeing here on the infrared satellite image. If we take a look at what's happening right now according to the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, we can see that the Rio Cobra is definitely chilling. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place right now. It was a bit rainy this afternoon, but that was basically it. Nothing too drastic to bring down the river, making it be in speed. We can definitely see people in their vehicles going about their business for sure. Should be a fair evening. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, you can just visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. They have this live stream and others for your viewing pleasure, all for free. And they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Friday. It is actually 1 p.m. on Friday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in grays and some slight shades of blues, represents average to slightly below average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of April across Jamaica is around 88 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.1 degrees Celsius, so it should be receiving anywhere from 30.1 to 31.1 degrees Celsius at least for Jamaica's temperature on Friday. And unfortunately, we have at least one maintenance outage advisor here from my JPS Online's Twitter page that we have to highlight. I know that we have to highlight these because I know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Friday, April 25, 2025. We're referring to Turner in the parish of St. Anne from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And I guess that's basically it for the outages. That's good. Taking a look at some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of drinking lots of water throughout the day. Stay hydrated and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites in those areas. And we can see the abundance of dry air across portion of the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf, the central to the western Caribbean, as well as right here off the coast of Africa into the main development region. Lots of dry air to go around. But what we like to see is the blues across the intertropical convergence zone of the Atlantic and the intertropical convergence zone of the eastern Pacific. The blues represent moist air. We see a lot of that across the eastern Caribbean where we have that trough as well. And we know the yellows also represent the low end of the scale in terms of dry air. We like to see that too because we like the rainfall. We want the rainfall to occur because we want to keep the water in our pipes. And most of this orange and red basically keeps the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain for sure. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 18 UTC on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday. You can see the browns represent the Saharan dust extending from Europe across Africa, across Asia, some of it in trailing across the main development region into a portion of the Eastern Caribbean. But what we're glad about is the fact that the more it goes west, the more it dwindles. We see a tree right here, just a low intensity in terms of the dust concentration near ground. And we can see it right here across the southern main development region. Nothing too significant, just anywhere from the 25s close to the 50s range. And we know the more it pushes westward, all because of the high pressure to the north, the more it dwindles. What we're glad about is the fact that we don't see all of these dark shades of brown. That we know means very hazy skies. Not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're indeed grateful that us over here in the Greater Antilles were all in the clear. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow. Still having the highest waves in the purples into the pinks right here to the east of the Bahamas. That we know represents anywhere from 2 to close to 3 meter wave heights. While anywhere with the dark shades of blues to light shades of blues that represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way to 1.5 meter wave heights are extending all the way from the Caribbean into the Gulf. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, north coast up to 1.2 meter wave heights tomorrow, south coast 0.7 meter wave height or off a meter wave height tomorrow, the southwestern side up to 0.4 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly flow across the eastern Caribbean, more of a northeasterly flow across the central to the southwestern Caribbean, more of a northeasterly flow across the Bahamas and Cuba, east to west across the northwestern Caribbean, and more of a southeast to northwesterly flow across the Gulf right here. And we know that's basically averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots, even gusting to 20 knots at most right here to the east of the Bahamas, which explains why the waves to the east of the Bahamas are going to be the highest. But regarding Jamaica's winds tomorrow, wind should be coming in, looks like coming in from the east northeast, not really the east but the east northeast, especially in the north coast averaging 12 knots, 14 knots right here on the northwestern side. Easterly flow on the south coast 11 knots, not really that strong across the southwestern sides. And we see the blues. The blues, as we know, represents little to no wind, and wherever we have little to no wind, that's usually where all of the air piles up for us to have more daytime heating clouds and more afternoon rainfall. And then we could receive more convection, and with the upper level wind still coming in from the northwest tomorrow, we could get on more of this kind of action tomorrow, where the cloud tops are being sheared off towards the east southeast or the southeast whenever we have some amount of thunderstorm activity. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 8 a.m. Jamaica time. And we see the blues represent rainfall across sections of some northern parishes, sections of Portland, coastal areas of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney. In the GFS, the Euro showing more of that rainfall on land. So we see the consensus for some morning rainfall there during the afternoon. Both the Euro and the GFS are adamant that there could definitely be some rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes, but it's more so some south central and southwestern parishes. We're talking about mainly sections of, let's say, far western St. Thomas, St. Andrew, Kingston, sections of St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, maybe southern St. James, southern Trelawney, and southwestern St. Anne getting in on some of that. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. But regarding the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS, we can see that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. Both maps right here are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. And I think that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then. But these are the areas that are going to be picking up the rainfall, especially across maybe Kingston, St. Andrew. We see shaded in the oranges up to 0.69 of an inch of rainfall, up to 0.4 of an inch of rainfall right here on the border of St. Elizabeth and Manchester for tomorrow. The GFS showing something similar with the locations. It's only up to 0.33 of an inch of rainfall right here across the west or the central areas, 0.31 of an inch of rainfall in the east. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. And whatever happens, we would also be grateful, because we're in the month of April. We're just coming out of the dry season. That's December, January, February, March. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive close to 40 millimeters of rainfall for the month of April. in Montego Bay, whose biography is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 4 inches of rainfall for the month of April. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of April or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website to show that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the math yourself. Very easy math. Because if it's 40 millimeters of rainfall for Kingston, and 1 inch of rainfall is about 25 millimeters of rainfall, that's what, close to 1 point, maybe close to 2 inches of rainfall for the month of April for Kingston. So close to 4 inches of rainfall for the month of April for Montego Bay. Clearly Montego Bay receives more rainfall than Kingston throughout the year. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some clouds bringing some overcast skies and some rainfall to sections of the eastern Caribbean, all courtesy of the trough affecting the eastern Caribbean as we speak. The usual thunderstorm activity that's causing a lot of rainfall to portions of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Colombia, Venezuela, Panama, Costa Rica. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery, let us see what's happening. Let us see what's happening on the Doppler radar imagery across the northeastern Caribbean. Let it go on and load. Either way, we're looking at the Barbados radar right here. Don't see much of anything across Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and Grenadines right now, but we do see some rainfall in the blues and green, some light rainfall at that. If they're actually getting rainfall and it's not just some high cloud top. This section of Dominica, Martinique right here. Has it loaded? Alright, it's loaded. Let's see if we see anything near Puerto Rico. Alright, we don't see much happening across Puerto Rico, just a little isolated shore in the central portion of Puerto Rico. Some isolated shores in and around Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis. All of that has to do with the northeasterly flow. Right about by the trough, we see some moderate to heavy rainfall in the greens, dark greens and yellows too. Very interesting. What's happening on the weather view of Doppler radar images? You can see some rainfall across sections of Venezuela, Colombia, section of Cuba, like what we mentioned on the Cayman radar earlier. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, the most rainfall in the oranges and reds, that represents close to an inch or more than an inch of rainfall, should be affecting portion of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, southern Honduras, section of the ABC Islands, anywhere from Martinique northward, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin. And we see some isolated shores in store for sections of Trinidad and Tobago, eastern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, section of Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, southeastern Belize, section of Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, the Cayman Islands right here. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are high for it to actually take place. And I guess that's it for today. Thank you all for watching.